Up next, the fallout continues from the executive order President Trump signed this past Friday, which temporarily banned refugees in 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the United States. The ban stopped many travelers from boarding their planes overseas, as well as forcing others to turn around and go back home upon arrival in the United States. Custom agents at various airports were forced to detain dozens of people, which caused mass protests at airports across the country, as you can see right here. So, ladies, what went through your minds, as you watched all of this unfold over the weekend?
I was just like, I was totally thrown off. I mean, it's crazy because I found out on social media as I'm scrolling. A lot of us get our information there throughout the day. And I just couldn't believe that he did something so drastic. Because, I mean, let's be for real. If it wasn't for immigration and all those things, we wouldn't have a first lady right now.
We wouldn't have a country.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a country.
Yeah.
This was the new world, okay? That's the way they described it in history books because we are, most of us are immigrants. Unless you can, Native American, most of us came from other places. And this is a country that was built on immigration and immigrants.
Absolutely.
For me, it felt so severe and hasty. It seems chaotic. It seems like everybody is left in an emotional uproar. We don't know why. Why 90 days? What is that supposed to do differently than any longer? Like, I want to understand why 90 days, why those 7 specific countries, when a lot of countries who were guilty of terrorism weren't involved in the 7 countries banned, and why everybody, why mothers, children, grandmothers,
breaking up families.
Why every single person? It's scary because I just imagine having immigrant parents if this happened to my mom and dad. And my mom and dad would not have survived if they lived in Vietnam or would have survived in really torturous conditions. They had to escape, and the people that are escaping to flee here are fleeing for their lives. They're carrying just literally the food and the children on their back to get here, and we're shutting them down and blocking them. It just feels so inhumane. It feels un-American.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of concern as all Americans that we should have because when they did this order, they just wrote the order and they forgot to tell a few people, like the head of Homeland Security. As a matter of fact, there were reports that he was on the phone doing a telephone conference about this order, and they look up and they look on television and Trump is holding the order up, going, I signed the order. And so when you do that, there was nothing in place, and that's why you had all this chaos. Yeah. But what I like about our country, we are the land of the free. We are people that will fight.
Yes.
A federal court in New York issued an emergency stay on President Trump's order, and the ACLU filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of 2 Iraqis who were detained at the JFK airport. There have been a lot of other attorneys and judges that have filed motions to halt this, because what's happening is that, our country, we have First Amendment rights, and that is freedom of religion. Right. And freedom of religion means that we don't judge by someone's religion. That's just what we have.
Right, but did you hear what former Mayor Rudy Giuliani said when he was like, well, it's not based on, banning Muslims. He tried to turn it around, but he basically gave all the tea of how he helped set it up.
Oh, yeah.
I could not believe he gave all that information basically to say that Donald Trump called him to say, hey, how can we put a ban on Muslims? Like, that is so terrible. And then he just comes back with, I'll do it legally. I'll help you do it legally. Like, yeah, I can help you put this all together. I got the play. I got it all together.
I'm concerned, you guys, as a whole, as a country. Because what we have to realize is that 50% of Americans did vote for this man to be in office.
That's what
I'm saying.
Where are they, by the way?
And he is, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm about to say. He is just finishing out these promises. So what I'm trying to look at is how can we unify with those people who actually voted for him so that we can find some common ground. Because the reality is, divided we fall,
Yes.
and united we stand.
Yes.
Well,
so
right.
we have to find a way.
So it was.
How do we do this? How do we move? How do we move from here?
Progressively.
How do we progress?
Well, it starts
where we
with
are
your
now?
president. But the thing is that I don't want to blame some of those people because a lot of those people felt like what Trump was saying, they didn't think he was actually going to do.
True. So what
you
do they
always
do
they're
now?
like, really? He's really doing it? But you always have to believe this is what we were trying to say to everybody in September. We were like, look, listen to the man. What he's saying could actually happen. When somebody tells you something, you believe it. If somebody say they're gonna kick my ass, I gotta believe. You know what? I gotta protect myself. So he's gonna do
We
it.
just want to clarify. 50% of the voters, not 50% of America, but 50% of the people that voted.
Yeah.
And it actually
half,
was less
what I mean
than that.
is half
Yeah.
of the country,
Yes,
the other half.
yes.
I've never, as long as I've been alive, I have never seen this country so divided as I see it right now.
In our
lifetime, in my
generation,
lifetime.
yeah.
I know it's probably
Well,
at
it
work,
starts with
whatever,
your
but
leader.
in my
Your leader has
my
to do
lifetime.
something.